welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is an episode of Get to Know James, where I'll be talking about some of my favorite bands of all time. I'll put together a nice little list for you guys here that you can check out, and what I'm going to do is I'll pull up my iTunes here, and we'll just go through some of the catalog here that I have, music-wise, quite a bit. And then what we'll do is we'll go over to like a little spreadsheet here that I got set up. And I'll just move these posters around here when I say, okay, well, we're going to put the top 10 in. I don't know that this says like a top 20 or whatever, but I'll move these around and put them in order when I get into the top 10 here as I go through the list of my iTunes. So you'll have to forgive me a little bit here. As I try to do this, I don't know why it's making noises, but it is. Let's just take a look at what I have on my iTunes, because I use iTunes, guys. You can't hear me. I didn't have my microphone. That's what's making noise here. Okay, so we'll take it from the top, and I'll just edit this out later. Welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is a Get to Know James episode where I'll be talking about my top 10 bands. Oh yeah, and these are usually raw around the edges, but what we'll do is we'll go through my my iTunes account, and we'll take a look at what I've got listed here. Ooh, Alice in Chains. I didn't put them on my top 10. Okay, but and then what will happen is that I'll put them in a ranking here of top 10, and we'll go through this at a reasonable pace, not too much, not too hard. Okay, so with that being said, let's go over to the iTunes and just scroll through what I've got, and we'll say my top bands. So and the way that I'm going to rank these is who I would like to see live, and that's pretty much my metric. Is okay, in priority list, if I got a chance to go see these people live, how would I rank that? Where on my list would I have them at, right? Because that's I think the true test. If you say that I want to see them live, and no matter whatever happens, you're gonna go see them live no matter what. So I got some ABBA in my collection. I got some AC/DC. Alice in Chains, I messed up. I should have put Alice in Chains on that list. This is just like the greatest hits. Now, I'm not going to play any of the songs because of copyright reasons, guys, but I'll tell you some of my favorite songs from Alice in Chains. It's definitely Rooster. No Excuses is pretty good. Heaven Beside You is the one that really got me hooked on Alice in Chains. It's the one that really brought me around to that. So again, it's pretty cool. But it's, Man in the Box, definitely. And of course I got their Unplugged album, and everybody likes the Unplugged album, right? Who doesn't? Not all of these albums are ranked. I haven't ranked everything here, but those are the only two real things that I have from Alice in Chains. So it didn't quite make the top 10, but they were definitely shout outs for great tracks. Oddly enough, I do listen to Aqua quite a bit. This one album, I don't listen to the Barbie Girl album. I like this album. It's short, it's sweet, and every now and then it's fun just to put on in the background. There's some Ariana for some people. The Armada is a band that Jeff Martin from the Tea Party was one of his side projects from the band when he was the Tea Party took like a lull in their band. They took some time off, and this was one of the side projects that he was working on. And I like this album quite a bit. It's got some cool tracks. Babies Come Undone, Morocco. Morocco is, I think, probably the standout on that one. And I like the final track, I Want You. He did like an acoustic version of Morocco too, and that's really cool. Audio Slave, definitely. I forgot about this one too. But Audio Slave is one of those bands where I like a lot of the tracks because of the vocals, because of Chris Cornell. But some of the guitar work, and I know a lot of people out there like have high praise for Tom Moreno, But for me, I find his work bland. Oh no, not bland. It's all the same style. He barely mixes it up. You don't see a lot of range in his style of playing. So for me, yeah, it's the same kind of work from that. So I like the songs mostly for the vocals, and there are songs on especially some of these albums where I just skip over. Like this last half of this album, I pretty much skip from Drown Me Slowly. I don't like any of those songs. But Revelations is good. Revelations has a lot of good songs on it. Original Fire, I really like. Sorry, guys. Wind is blowing my thing, my drapes. It's beginning to nettle me. Anyway, they're not on my top. But who is going to be Big Wreck. Big Wreck definitely is going to be on my top 10 list for sure, because I own everything in their catalog, including some B-sides and stuff like that, guys. If you don't know who Big Wreck is, it's Ian Thornley, one of my favorite, well, actually he is my favorite guitarist of all time. And I do have some B-sides. Not all of them are here. Of course, you can't go wrong with In Loving Memory Of. But for me, one of my favorite... Okay, so my favorite album is Ghosts. Because Ghosts has the most songs on it that I don't skip. Like every album, I think, has at least one song or two that you just hit the skip button. But Ghosts, I can listen to from start to the end, and it's just so many great songs on there. It's just wow. And I'm looking forward to more work from them. 7.1 was great, and 7.2 comes out pretty soon here. So 7.2 is going to have Spit Out on it and some other tracks. But my all-time favorite Big Wreck song, if I had to pick one, would probably be Inhale. Yeah, I like Inhale. But then there's a lot of them off of In Loving Memory Of, the Oaf, that song, Blown Wide Open. Fantastic. And then there's a B-side from this called Ill Advice, which is also very great. And I like that a lot. So Big Wreck, let's go over to here. Let's go over to my Excel spreadsheet, and I'll tell you where that ranks on my list. Big Wreck. Oh, we're starting off big, guys. It's my number 2. If I ever get a chance to go see them live, I definitely will. They're one of the few bands where they sound just as good live as the album. And in some cases, I actually prefer the live versions because he's vocally so talented that, there's no audio correction on it whatsoever. He's just that talented, Ian Thornley. So that's where Big Wreck for me comes in. So... Okay, you're going to go to the top every time I switch back and forth. That's where Big Wreck is. Number 2 is my favorite band of all time. Got some Boney M, of course. Bush, yeah, classic album from the 90s. Love that. Christina Aguilera is always great. Coldplay, I paid $250 to go see them once, and I wasn't even close to them. But I got to see them while they were doing their Viva La Vida tour. And yeah, that was a great time. I loved they were making albums around the Viva La Vida time. The X and Y album, Milo Xyloto album, were meant to make songs for like the big stadiums. So they were big, grand, epic songs, and they kind of dialed back a little bit on that, trying to go back to their roots of making smaller, quieter albums that started them off, like Parachutes, which the song that got me onto Coldplay was Trouble. Yeah, everybody likes Yellow from that album, but I prefer Trouble. That's the one that really got me hooked. Parachutes was one of the first albums that I bought when I moved to Ontario. So I listened to that, and I listened to Garbage Beautiful album. when I first came down here. So I got a lot of stuff from Coldplay. I got a lot of their B-sides as well. So Coldplay is definitely on my list. Arglass Vikings in the live chat says, I never heard of Big Wreck, but I know them now. Ghosts is amazing. Such a pity they didn't get a wider audience. Yeah, it is kind of a bummer. Okay, so we're over here, and I'm going to take Coldplay, and I'm going to put that. I'm going to have to put it in the fourth spot. Yeah, I'm going to put that in the fourth spot. So we got STP over there. I just got some Tea Party corn. Yeah, so Coldplay is in my fourth spot. In the fourth spot. Okay, let's go back. And I hate the fact that it keeps on going back up to the top. But at least you guys get to see my catalog. Corey Hart. Can't go wrong with him. He is one of my first bands that I started listening to in the 80s. Like, I used to listen to movie soundtracks all the time, but then I started to get into other, like, actual bands. So he was one of my first bands that I started to listen to. I like this album quite a bit. Sunglasses at Night, of course, everybody knows. But She Got the Radio is probably my favorite Corey Hart song. Great album, too. Lamp at Midnight's pretty cool. Fields of Fires, I think I only got one from there. I Am By Your Side, very cool. Cranberries would be an honorable mention. I listened to Bury the Hatchet quite a bit, and I haven't ranked anything on here. Animal Instinct is awesome. Promises is awesome. Yeah, I need to rank some of these things. Great album, great band. Yeah, I got a lot of the Cranberries stuff. Oh, I only got 2 songs from that album. I thought I had all of their albums, actually. Ode to My Family, great album, too. Icicle Melts, I think, is my favorite one on this one. Yeah. Stars, though, is my favorite Cranberries song of all time. Stars. I just like the way her voice is in this one. It marries well with the music, and it's kind of intoxicating listening to her sing. Dolores. Yeah, and it's a bummer that she's not with us anymore. Wake Up and Smell the Coffee is also a good album too. This Is the Day. Great album. Yeah, and of course you got the Batman original score. I listened to this all the time when I was like doing mowing the lawn and chores and stuff like that. So great album, and I tacked on the Batman theme theatrical, because if you listen to this album of the opening Batman theme, they dialed back on the drums, on the snare. So when you watch it on the movie theaters or on your tape, the snare is much more louder, and they dialed it back for that theme. So I prefer the theatrical theme much better. So I tracked that down, and I tacked that on my copy of the Batman album, because this was very influential to me when I was growing up, for sure. Dead Can Dance is definitely one of my favorite bands of all time. They're more worldly music. Anastasis is one of those albums you can listen to front to back. So epic. All the great songs. My favorite song on that one is Kiko. Children of the Sun is also really good, because it's got 2 vocalists. You got Lisa Gerrard singing, and then you got Brendan, I forgot his last name, but he's good. Dionysus was pretty cool. Got some B-sides from them. But if you want something from Dead Can Dance, they put together like this compilation called Wake, and it's kind of like all of their greatest hits. And I listen to this quite a bit. Enigma of the Absolute is fantastic. Host of Seraphim it's a bummer song, but it's very recognizable from them. Great album. Wake, Dead Can Dance. Yeah. My favorite Dead Can Dance song is definitely Requiem, because it's got both of them singing. Ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove is great too. The Carnival is over. Oh, so many great songs, and it's just like weird. Not weird. It's fantastic. It's grand music. Uh, you can tell that it's really classically trained musicians making it, and they do make my top list for sure. So let's go over and take a look at that. Let's see, Dead Can Dance. That's where would I move them, guys? If I had a chance to go see Dead Can Dance, it would be in my top 5. It would be my top 5. They would be number 5. Because they're still around, and if I ever got the chance, and apparently they're very hard to get tickets for. They're very hard to get tickets for. So, yeah, we'll move this around here a little bit. Soundgarden is definitely going to be on the list for sure. But that's where number 5 is for me. Let's go back over to my. Why are you going to the top again? I hate the shortcut keys. Where were we at? Where you were at Dead Can Dance. Okay, so Enya, honorable mention. I listen to these albums quite a bit. I don't have her newest one, but great. Orkino Flow, great. Caribbean Blue is great. Marble Halls. But my favorite track would have to be Only Time is great. Yeah, that's the one that really drew me to her. Everybody recognizes Only Time. Only Time is my favorite, and then Sarah Mirigusa is my second favorite. It's my second favorite from her. But then the third favorite would be back on this album, Lazy Days. I think Lazy Days is absolutely awesome. I would love to do like a hardcore, like a hard rock version of Lazy Days, because I think it could translate to an interesting mix. But I like her voice. It's just soothing to put on in the background sometimes when you're working on a script or something like that. So I got a few dance stuff. I have all the Final Fantasy stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy music when you're just working on stuff to put on in the background. Foo Fighters. I got a lot of early Foo Fighter stuff because I was a Nirvana fan, and Foo Fighters is definitely there. What is my favorite song from Foo Fighters? Can't go wrong with My Hero. Can't go wrong with My Hero. Times Like These is pretty good too. And then there's Garbage, and this should have been in my top 10. This Beautiful Garbage here is one of the albums that when I first moved to Ontario, I listened to this in Parachutes all the time. I'd go for Celts and Longships for my go-to Enya tracks. Hourglass says, yep, those are good tracks too. But I love Garbage too, especially the first album was one of the very first CDs that I ever got when I got a CD player. And I listened to Only Happy When It Rains over and over again, but it's got great other tracks on there. Stupid Girl, Queer, Fix Me Now, Milk. Man, and you can listen to these ones. You can listen to this album back to back from beginning to end. Garbage. Yeah, my favorite song is probably Only Happy When It Rains. I think I'm Paranoid is also great. Special is good too. Godsmack. That's a good album I like. Green Day. Hey, I don't have Dookie on here. I thought I had Dookie. I don't, but I like Green Day. Oh. You know what? That's a windy day and it's blowing my shades around. Guns N' Roses. Yeah, I listen to these two albums quite a bit. Oh, I don't have them ranked. My number one song would probably be... Oh, I know, The Garden. There we go. That's it. November Rain is always awesome. Can't go wrong with that. But I like The Garden is probably my favorite. And it has a duet there with... who is it? Alice Cooper is a duet in that song. And that's cool, too. Pretty Tied Up, Estranged. Yeah. Listen to those albums quite a bit. I like Gwen Stefani and those two solo albums that she's got. I don't know if she's got any more. Hollerback Girl is great. Harajuku Girls is something that I really like on that album, too. Got more movie soundtracks. Batman Begins soundtrack. The Reason, everybody likes that song, The Reason Is You. And I said I didn't like Out of Control. Very rarely will I put the dislike button on a song, but yeah, Hoobastank. Jeff Martin, once again, when the Tea Party was taking a hiatus, he did some solo work. I think it was Lament that I like on this album. The Kingdom is also really good. The Ground Cries Out. The Cobra is definitely a good song. Santeria is a good one as well. I listened to this album quite a bit too. Stars in the Sand, The Last Dance. That's a good song. More movie soundtracks. John Williams. Can't go wrong with John Williams. And I actually like the solo soundtrack. The Empire Strikes Back double book album. So great. I listen to this a lot. One of the best. It is the best soundtrack of all time, in my opinion, because it gives us the iconic Imperial March theme. But I listen to like the end of it. Like I can just listen to this album and I can see the movie in my head. That's how much I like this album. And this is a small band. Kurungbin. It's a three-piece, a trio. They kind of play like this weird kind of abstract pieces. Very interesting. I should get to know them more. Kitty, I like that first album. And then they kind of got a little bit too heavy for me. But I do like the first album from them. Korn is definitely... I saw Korn live in Edmonton once. And they're on my top 10 list for sure. I would go see them no matter what. Not no matter what, but I'd go see them for sure. I think the song that got me hooked on them was Clown. Yeah, Clown is probably the first one that I really liked. And then when Freak on a Leash came out, everybody liked that one. But I like a lot of their newer stuff too. Requiem has got some really good tracks that came out this year. The Worst Is On Its Way is probably a good throwback to some of their earlier work, and I like that quite a bit. So I own Korn. What would be my favorite song? Maybe Here It Comes Again. Did My Time is also really good. Would be one of my favorite Korn, and they put on a good live show too. I'm surprised how long he's able to sing like that. His voice just must be wrecked by the end of it, but he. Jonathan Davis, I think he's a talented vocalist for sure. Because he's one of those guys that started off screaming and yelling and ruined his voice every show. But then he went and learned and he mastered it, how to make those growling noises and all that stuff. So I always listen to a lot of Korn. They would end up on my top list here. So let's put that into perspective. Korn. Where would Korn be? Korn's good, but it's not the greatest. It would be number 10. I'll just move these off so people don't get confused. And they would be on my number 10. Going back to Untouchables, yeah. Limp Bizkit, gotta have Limp Bizkit in the catalog. Bahubali soundtrack is from a Telugu movie. Listen to Divara. Great. If you want to watch movies from India, you got to start with Bahubali because it eases you into the style of them having like normal dramatic scenes mixed with the music, and the music for it is phenomenal. So phenomenal, I had to go out and buy the soundtrack. This Mannequin Party is good too. Too bad they don't have more songs. They just had like a small piece. It's in Her Eyes and Should I Stay or Should I Go? They did a cover of that. And that's a really good cover. Mannequin Party. Good cover. And then there's Metallica. Now, guys, I'm a Metallica fan. And I don't have their newest one, Live and Wired or whatever. I need it. But I am a newer Metallica fan. I'm not an older Metallica fan. With the big... Oh, I don't have this album ranked? Well, we can rank that right now. Through the Never, Nothing Else Matters, of course, is a masterpiece. My Friend of Misery's got some great bass. and I listen to that one quite a bit. Metallica is a band that I would love to see live. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I like them because, once again, just like Big Wreck, you listen to their live stuff, the S&M stuff, because he can sing, and it sounds like the records. There's no modulations to it. Devil's Dance is probably one of my favorite songs from them, Metallica. But I mean, come on, when you go and listen to the Black Album, you can't. Enter Sandman's iconic. Wherever I May Roam is great. The Unforgiven is probably one of my favorites. I like the Load album quite a bit too. I like the Load and Reload albums. So that's kind of like the distinction in between the old Metallica fans with the new Metallica fans, is the distinction of the Load albums. Because a lot of the older Metallica fans don't like the newer, like the Load and Reload, but I love them because it's a mix, we can hear acoustic guitar at times, and that's what I like. Now they've kind of gone back to the straight electrical guitar work with the newer stuff, but Metallica definitely is in my top 10. Let me go over and see where it would be on that list. Metallica. Where would I rank Metallica? Would it be number 7, maybe? Would it be number 6? Could it be number 1? No, it's not. Yeah, I think Metallica would be number 7, guys. And that's going to be shocking for some people. Oh, yeah, I think that will shock some people. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so where were we at? We were at Metallica. And then there's the girls in there. I like Lady Gaga. I don't know why they split it up when I downloaded it. The Fame Monster. Lady Gaga. Paparazzi's a good song. The Fame I like. But I think Alejandro's... Well, yeah, why did they split that up? I don't get it. Alejandro's pretty good too. I like that one. Can't go wrong with Lana. I got some songs from her. Blue Jeans, Summertime Sadness. Lolita is probably my favorite. Lily Allen I like too. Smile, LDN. I like her style every now and then. Did I miss that? Yeah, I must have skipped that. Huh, I missed those girls. But anyway, we covered them now. when we went over Metallica. And talking about Metallica, one last thing. I know a lot of people don't like the Saint Anger album, but if you listen to it, there's a YouTube page that went up and made Metallica, they remixed it and fixed the drums so it doesn't have that loud snare on it, and it sounds so much better. I listened to that album more than this album. It's they redid the cover so it's green, and I can find a lot of these songs much more listenable. Some Kind of Monster's the best though on this album. And then you got my stuff here. More Planet of the Apes. It's more music soundtracks. And then you got my stuff, my albums here. I digitized them, but I didn't do a good job of transferring them over, and I should. Recollections was an album that I was going to do, but yeah, I didn't do that very well. And I covered The Shimmering Light before on this channel. Much like this, I went through all the songs and just told you what they were about. And so they're recorded, but they're not very good. This was back when I was just learning how to use Ableton, and I didn't really do a good job of doing it. So I would like to go back and re-record those songs and then move on to newer stuff. So there's some older stuff. 2002, 2000, a lot of older stuff. Moby, yeah, Porcelain. More video game soundtracks, Tomb Raider soundtrack. I love listening to these soundtracks too. It just takes me back to when you were playing the game. Nelly Furtado is good. And then I got a lot of Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, I think, is a master craftsman when it comes to putting together songs, because he just makes up these beats. He's definitely a very talented musician, for sure. And I don't have this ranked. The Fragile album has been mined to pieces. People didn't like it when it first came out, but then it's been mined to pieces. Where Is Everybody is probably one of my favorite tracks on this album for sure. But hands down, without a doubt, The Downward Spiral is a masterpiece album. It's flawless from front to back. It's one of those ones that you're just like, holy crap, this album is good. Just like Big Rex Ghosts. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Everybody knows the song Closer. I Want to F You Like an Animal. But Eraser, I think, is one of my favorite songs on this album. And Reptile's pretty good too. And of course, I got all the B-sides, the different mixes, the remixes. And I like the newer stuff too that he has been coming out with, like With Teeth, Year Zero, even though those have been a long time away. But Nine Inch Nails would end up on my list here for sure. So let's see if I can stop this from working like that. Okay, so Nine Inch Nails would end up on my list, but they're not too high priority. So I'm thinking number 9 maybe. They're cool and all. Am I missing something here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spots left. 4 spots left, and we got 4 bands to go through, guys. How's it going to end up? It's going to be interesting. So let's go back to the old mix, and after Nine Inch Nails comes Nirvana. And I already said today that Nirvana is my favorite band of all time. Whoops. I guess I heard a snippet of Lithium on the radio one day, and I went out to try to go grab it, and I accidentally picked up the Bleach album because I didn't know what the name of the song was, but they had Bleach and they had Nevermind out at the same time, but I bought it and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But since I owned it, I started listening to it over again and again and again, and then slowly but surely I was like, yeah, no, I love this album. It's probably the Bleach era is my favorite Nirvana period because they got these great songs in a row: Negative Creeps, Scoff, Swap Meet, Mr. Mustache, and they recorded it for like $600 or something. But Kurt was the kind of guy that would go in and record this all. He would sing the entire album. Wow. And then they would walk out of the studio. It's like, but he was very meticulous about his practice time. He was always on the others to practice. And I took that away from Kurt too, is that I like to practice. So I said this earlier today too, that On a Plane would probably be my favorite, but I like Incesticide quite a bit because a lot of these tracks were from the Bleach era. They were just like B-sides. These are like B-sides. Mexican Seafood, I think, is awesome. Hairspray Queen is so weird, man. But that's what I like about Nirvana, is that they'll make weird music, and he's not shy to strain his voice and reach for those weird screams that he would do. And this is my version of In Utero. This is not like the album. This has all the B-sides in it. So nobody out there has this version of In Utero. Because, yeah, it's got the B-sides like I Hate Myself and I Want to Die, which is something that I heard one day that he wanted that to open up the album. At first it was going to be MV, but then he wanted I Hate Myself and I Want to Die. So I organized it to play like that. Sappy is on this version. Two Reds. Yeah, great album. Scentless Apprentice. Scentless Apprentice is probably my favorite song on this album because he just screams he just screams and he goes for it. Nirvana is definitely on my list, top 10, and because I said already today, it's a no-brainer, guys. I know I can't see them live anymore, but they would be on my top 10 list for sure, and they would be number one. And you know what's cool is that you still, they said in an interview, Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, and Pat Smear do get together sometimes and still jam like as if they were Nirvana. And that's cool. That made me happy to hear that quite a bit. But man, if I ever had a chance, that's the one band that if I ever had the chance, man, I would want to see them live. Oh, and yeah, their Unplugged album is I think that's a masterpiece too, because as I said, Kurt sang the entire his voice holds up through all of it. And I think Where Did You Sleep Last Night is a big hit for them. But I like the David Bowie cover, The Man Who Sold the World. On a Plane was cool as an acoustic song. Yeah, Nirvana. I'm somebody though that likes a lot of their B-sides. A lot of their B-sides work with the lights out. I got that too. I got the actual copy of it. I got the big, So, this comes with like a movie version of it. Man, that's how much I like Nirvana. I'm so much in love with them. Back in the day, when you had to go out and find music at music stores, I paid like $50 for this CD, Hormoning, which is like a small album that they did in Japan. It's got like, if you look in the liner notes, it's all Japanese and stuff, and it's got a Rare song on there. It used to be Super Rare, the D7 song. $50 for this I paid, guys. That's when going out and trying to find music was a lost art. You would find like these back catalogs and be like, ooh, I gotta find this, and I'm thankful for it, that they put it all together in a big package for us, and it's cool. This album comes with like some behind the scenes footage of them playing in a room, and he's like singing facing a wall. It's like, yeah, so cool. I miss Kurt. He yeah. I just wish he could have stuck around. If he didn't want to make the music anymore, he had enough money that he could have gone away and just lived his life without it. It bummed me out. So we got Nobuo Uematsu, and he would be, I should have put him on my top 10 list, but I wanted it to be more a little bit rock bands. He's somebody, if he was doing a tour, he did the Final Fantasy music. So if he did a tour, I would go listen to them, because he does do tours. And he plays like the Final Fantasy music, like as from the games. Final Fantasy VII is a game that I absolutely fell in love with. I haven't played the remake yet because I don't have a PS5 or a PS4, but when I do get a PS5, one day I will stream it. I'm waiting for the second part because it all takes place in Midgar, and I got a few songs from the remake original soundtrack. It just kind of, it bums me out a little bit because, well, they do a version of the One-Winged Angel, which is a fantastic song. They go and play the original version of it within the middle of the song, and that's when newer people will be introduced to that song, and it's just kind of like it'll lose a little bit of its mystique when you hear it at the end of the game when you actually face him. So maybe they'll ramp that up. We'll have to see how that plays out. But Nobuo Uematsu is a master, and I would love to go out and see a live version of that. I listen to all of the soundtracks a lot. He's a master. Wow. Okay, guys. I'll try to pick up the pace here. Our Lady Peace is a Canadian band. Great tracks. Superman is Dead, I think, is one of the big soundtracks. Naveed, Starseed. Everybody knows that song. And Naveed is great too. My favorite track from them comes from Healthy in Paranoid Times. I like Angels Losing Sleep. If I had to one song for Our Lady Peace, I'd say go listen to that one. It's awesome. And he doesn't do a whole lot of his yeah kind of stuff that he's known for. The Rain Maida, yeah. Ozzy Osbourne, I got his No More Tears album, great album. That's all I have from Oz in my catalog. No More Tears, great album. Pearl Jam, very close to being in the top 10, but I don't have a lot of their later stuff. I was a much more fan of the early stuff. And while people like 10, I do like 10. Even Flow, Alive is great. Jeremy, Oceans is probably one of my favorites on that. But I do like the Yield album quite a bit. Given to Fly is my favorite Pearl Jam song. And then I think In Hiding. If I had to tell you an album to listen, to a song from this album would be In Hiding. And Do the Evolution is one of the few songs that I put the hate. And that's one of the most popular songs on that album is Do the Evolution. And I put down I don't like it. Peter Cetera is one of the bands from the 80s, or musicians that I listened to growing up, just like Corey Hart. For the Glory of Love was on the Karate Kid 2 soundtrack. I like throwing it on every now and then and just kind of reminiscing. The Platters, classic band. Smoke in Your Eyes. Yeah, that's my favorite. I also like Twilight Time. Can't go wrong with some of the oldies. Postmodern Jukebox. Royals covers. They do like those swing covers, like those old. They take popular songs and then they throw them back to like those jazzy era type songs. Royals with the sad clown. You must have seen that on YouTube where they play that. So I got those songs from them. Primus. I don't have them on my list, but I like Primus. I don't have a lot of their albums, but I do like their songs. Sergeant Baker's probably my favorite Primus song. Les Claypool is a very talented musician and bassist. So that music takes a little while to get used to, but it's awesome once you get into it. I should get some more Primus. The Righteous Brothers. Yes, Unchained Melody. Everybody knows that song. You've Lost That Loving Feeling is great. But my favorite is probably Just Once in My Life, actually. But iconic. Something that everybody has to have in their catalog. Rihanna is in my catalog as well. Umbrella is great. Breaking Dishes is cool too. I like that song. Talk the Talk. Yuda 1 is probably my favorite Rihanna song. Yep, that's it. Rob Zombie. Yeah, I got some work from him too. I like Educated Horses quite a bit. Lords of Salem is one of my favorite Rob Zombie songs, but Dragula is the one that got me hooked. Everybody likes Dragula, right? Okay. Paranoid Phenomenon. Spook Show Baby. Yeah, great album too. And I know that there's a Hellbelly Deluxe 2 out there that I should go track down. Once again, Rob Zombie is one of those people that manipulates his voice to do the growling and stuff, and he does it well live too. He does it live. I would like to see him live too. He's somebody who trained to condition his voice to play, to sing like that, and they got some good stuff here. Hourglass says Primus played in a Encino Man movie too. Yeah, and they were at the tail end of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I think, when they were playing in that concert where it was kind of like them. What was the Bill and Ted too? It was like a competition, right? The best band of that era, and they were just playing the end of Tommy the Cat. which is very common. Silverchair, early Silverchair, I listen to a lot. In fact, I want to listen to Freak Show later on today. I love Freak Show, and I like Neon Ballroom a lot. It's a bummer that Daniel Johns had so much trouble um, with his anorexia. His health was not the greatest. Um, but I like a lot of their early work. It's hard music. The song that got me hooked on them was Israel's Son. Yeah, I like that one. Leave Me Out. I like that one too. Madman as an instrumental, I like that. Frog Stomp is great, but Neon Ballroom is probably my favorite from them. Very hard music. Spawn Again is great. Anna's song is great. Uh, Paint Pastel Princess, Dearest Helpless, great album. I love this album. Silverchair. Okay, guys, it's 3:23. I have to go downstairs and get my laundry out of the machine, so I apologize. But we're going to continue on in just a few moments. So I am just going to go to the widescreen here, and I'm just going to take a quick 2-minute break, go grab my laundry, and come back up, and we'll continue on. Because this is taking longer than I thought, but don't worry, I'm having fun, and I'll see you in just a few moments. And we're back. Okay. We're continuing down my top 10 bands of all time. And wow, this is being a lot longer than I thought. But you know what? It's fun. It's whatever. We're talking about music, and I love talking about music. So let's go back over to my little list here, and we'll confirm. Nirvana's number 1. Big Wreck is number 2. Who's going to be in the number 3 spot, guys? We see that Soundgarden's going to be in the mix somewhere in there. Stone Temple Pilots, The Tea Party. Yeah, we only got 3 more. Now, I know I got 12 here because this was like top. This was for my Star Wars countdown for Get to Know James. But, yeah, let's just go back to the iTunes and talk about, we were on Silverchair. Yes. But now we got Soundgarden next. And I got a lot of their stuff. Hands All Over. It's a magnificent song. Absolutely magnificent. And that's one song from Soundgarden that you know that Chris Cornell put a lot of thought into his music and his lyrics. And that song is very topical for even back then when they made it in 1989, talking about, you know, environmentalism. Yeah. Down on the Upside is one of my favorite albums from them, for sure. Pretty Noose is awesome. Burden in My Hand is probably one of my favorite tracks on this album. Switch Opens is one great one. Boot Camp is great. But hands down, without a doubt, Super Unknown is the best album. And this is just like Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral. It's a masterpiece. I can listen to this from front to back and just say that every song on here, there's not a single song on here that you would want to skip. There's not a single song on there that you will want to miss because it's all great. And what I like about Soundgarden is that they're exactly that. It's mixed. It's not all hard rock songs. And Chris Cornell could wail. His vocals are just breathtaking. He does a vocal solo for Super Unknown. You can just hear him wailing, and he just opens up, and it's just beautiful to listen to. Yeah, if I had to listen to one song from him, to listen to Super Unknown, when he has that vocal solo, awesome. But everybody likes Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, Fell on Black Days, My Wave. Limo Wreck is also a great one on this one. 4th of July is also great. Fresh Tendrils, I think I like that one too. Oh, great album. Masterpiece. And yes, they are in my top 10 bands of all time. They have to be. So, without me trying to fuddy things up here, we're going to go back to our list over on Excel and take Soundgarden. Where's it going to land? Is it going to be number 3, guys? It's going to be, oh, it can't be as low as number 8. It can't be. But it is, it's number 6. Right there. And it's too bad that Chris is gone now. Again, it's one of those deaths where I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I don't think he wanted to expire so early. But man, Soundgarden, as I said, it's one of my favorite bands. I listen to their stuff quite a bit. What am I? I'm missing Bad Motorfinger. That's what I'm missing. Huh. I need that album. Hot Wired. This was a band that my brother listened to, the Soup Dragons. He listened to it in his truck all the time. And so every day going to school, I had to listen to this album. So I eventually started liking it. 1992. Running Wild is a great song. Getting Down. Dream On is also great. This is a nice album to listen to, and it's very different from what you would be expecting in my catalog. But the Soup Dragons, good band. Now, Stone Temple Pilots is next. And the Stone Temple Pilots is a band that I was pretty much on board with from day one. I listened to Sex Type Thing, and I was hooked. Now, I know the big songs on this album were, Sex Type Thing definitely had its run, but everybody thinks of Creep from this album. But Scott Weiland, his vocals, he was, had such range, such control to sing at this lower register for core. But then when you go on and listen to Purple, he starts to open up a little bit and showing how high of a range he has. And I didn't rank this album yet. Vaseline is great. Interstate Love Song still remains as probably one of my favorite songs on this album. Unglued is awesome. Army Ants is awesome. Pretty Penny. Most people like Interstate Love Song, but I actually like Meat Plow too. Meat Plow is awesome. And I have seen Stone Temple Pilots live, but not with Scott Weiland, the new guy that they have, who's also really good, who did this album from them. And they did another one too recently, but I didn't like that newer album. It was more of like an acoustic piece album, and that one didn't really resonate with me. But this is with the new singer. I saw them with the new singer. So, but Stone Temple Pilots, I love all of their albums. I remember when I bought Shangri-La Dida when I was living in Edmonton, and I brought it over to my friend's place, and we put it in, and we were just sitting there in the living room listening to it. And one of his roommates came in and just saw us sitting there. He was like, "What are you guys doing?" And he said, "We're listening to the album." Like, people don't do that much. Back then, I don't know if they do it anymore now. It's just, you're going to sit down, relax, and listen to an album. That's what we were doing. And songs on there that I liked was Hello Bitch, Hello It's Late is great, Bipolar Bear is great, Long Way Home is awesome, Days of the Week, Coma, great album. And I like this. I think this was the last one with Scott, right? Just Stone Temple Pilots, Hickory Dichotomy. Cinnamon is a great song. First Kiss on Mars was great. But my overall favorite Stone Temple Pilots song, I don't know. I haven't thought about that one. Sour Girl is great. Down is great. Tiny Music has got some great songs on there too. Everybody likes Big Bang Baby. But I think my favorite song from Stone Temple Pilots would have to go back to either being probably Wicked Garden, then maybe Cinnamon. So many good choices, but they're definitely on my top list for sure. Stone Temple Pilots. So we'll go back over to the, we're rounding out here, guys, to the old list here. And this pretty much, as soon as I put this one in, then you know where everything else is on this list. So Stone Temple Pilots, I have seen live. They are great, but they do fall in number 8 spot. So that means by default, then you know the Tea Party is going to be number 3. And the Tea Party is one of the main reasons, big reasons, why I have decided to try to learn guitar. While Nirvana inspired me to pick up my guitar for the first time, it wasn't until I listened to the Tea Party that I really wanted to master it and learn how to play. So we'll talk about the Tea Party here in just a moment when we go back to the my catalog here. So we got some Taylor Swift. yes, I know. It's kind of like, ooh, weird catalog. Definitely, for sure. Tattoo. This is those Russian girls. Not going to get us. I like this album a lot too. Short, but sweet. And I prefer the Russian version of their songs. Taylor Swift. You know that story for me. It started off as a joke that I didn't like her, but then I started to listen to some of the songs and I got hooked. Reputation. I don't have all of it, but I got Look at What You Made Me Do. That's the one that got me. Ready for It is great too. But let's talk about the Tea Party. Because this is another band that I was pretty much on board with the Tea Party since day one, since Splendor Solace dropped. The River is a masterpiece of a song. It's great rock album, 1993. We found a tape of the Tea Party while I was working on the stage in one of the dressing rooms, in one of the drawers that somebody had just left the tape of the Tea Party behind. And we threw it in. It was like, oh my God, it blew us away. The River, it's a masterpiece. Masterpiece. And it's great too. They've got 2 acoustic songs on here, Winter Solstice and Haze on the Hills, where you get to hear how good of a musician Jeff Martin is with his guitar. And then they followed up with Edges of Twilight. I don't have this ranked. Well, Fire in the Head is awesome. The Bazaar is awesome. Sister Awake is a masterpiece of a song. I think they made this one with the intention of it being definitely inspired by Dead Can Dance of Rakim, Sister Awake, because it's a morphing song. It's got it starts off with just an acoustic piece, and then it morphs into a heavier rock piece, and that's what Rakim does with Dead Can Dance. And they've said many times that they've been heavily inspired by Dead Can Dance, but this album truly is a masterpiece. I totally recommend that you go check out Sister Awake, Fire in the Head. Great. Then they went on to do Alhambra. I like Alhambra quite a bit. It's kind of like acoustic with sitars and East Indian instruments. So that's really cool. Black River is the newer album. And I do have the Capitol demo tape, guys. They've done some cover songs. Interzone Mantras I really like too. This was a bit of a departure for them, where they had that kind of Middle Eastern sound to them in the early days. And if they weren't doing that, they were doing more bluesy stuff. But this album, it was great. And you didn't hear any of that East Indian stuff until Mantra. And when I heard the opening for Mantra, I just kind of stood up and cheered. It was like, yeah. But I like this album quite a bit. It's got a bit of a different sound to it when they recorded it. And I thought it was great. And the Tea Party, once again, they are really awesome live. And I had the chance to go see them next Friday, but they were going to be playing in a parking lot, and I don't know about that. I didn't know about that for 50 Bones, but they just sound awesome live as well. It's a 3-piece, and that's why I have them in the number 3 spot. If they're playing, if it wasn't in the parking lot, I would go see them again. But aside from Sister Awake, Temptation is awesome. Halcyon Days is really awesome. Triptych came out after... No, it was Transmission. Transmission was done after Edges of Twilight, and that album is fantastic. This has got Temptation. I'm going to give the heart to Army Ants too. That's awesome. Everybody likes Psychopomp from this album. Gyroscope, because everybody thought that they would just do another more East Indian sounding album, but they transformed. They introduced a lot of electronic sounds in this album, and it was cool to hear them playing that. Arglass says in live chat, that an 80s pastime, wait for an album, then play it to death. Yeah. And I played this one to death, Transmission. And I'm one of the few people out there that like Aftermath, which is a nice, slower song. Very quiet and a really weird way to close an album with a nice, slower song. But I like it a lot. Transmission. Now, what I'll say about them live is that he'll sing in a higher register sometimes, like he does at the end of Transmission. But... he can't duplicate that live because he'll burn out his voice. So there are little differences when they do it live, but it's great. But Triptych is also great. Came out after that. It's got a lot of my favorite songs on there. Samsara, The Halcyon Days, Heaven Coming Down, and then they did their special tour edition where you got a few more of the Alhambra tracks of like the acoustic versions of the songs. That was cool. They did a cover of A Woman Like You. Yeah, that was cool. And then they sort of did like a TX. They re-recorded some of the songs from Transmission. that sounded a little bit. Actually, it sounds more like what it is when it's live. But interesting takes. Release is also great. Great song. And that's why the Tea Party is number 3 on my list when we go back to, my top 10. Nirvana. Well, let's finish out by looking at the rest of my... we're pretty much near the end of my catalog here, guys. Thornley. Ian Thornley, when Big Wreck took a hiatus there after Pleasure and the Greed, Ian went off and did some solo work, and my God, Falling to Pieces opens up this album, and it's a masterpiece of a song. Awesome. Beautiful was good, and The Lies That I Believe has one of the best solos, one of my favorite solos that he's ever done. Awesome. Thornley. I totally recommend that you go check it out. He did that in Tiny Pictures. Great songs. Your Song is good. Man Overboard, Another Memory. Ian Thornley. If you like Big Wreck, then go check out his 2 solo albums, because it's just him, guys. And it sounds very much like Big Wreck songs. So I recommend that for sure. And I missed one here. Temple of the Dog. This was the hybrid album. Oh, I don't have that. I have the full CD for it. For some reason, I didn't copy all of it. I do have this CD. Temple of the Dog was that Chris Cornell project of like them and some members of Pearl Jam came together to make this tribute album to this guy who'd passed on. But it was our first glimpse at Pearl Jam with Eddie Vedder singing, and he does a duet with him with Hunger Strike. Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder's voices married so well together for that song, Hunger Strike. That's a cool track, man. Awesome. 3 Days Grace. Yeah, I got that album, guys. What song is Animal I Become, right? That's the big one that everybody likes on that album. The Ting Tings. This is fun. That's Not My Name. Yeah, you'll recognize that song if you heard it. Shut Up and Let Me Go is good. Yeah, I like the Ting Tings. No problem with that. U2. Oddly enough, I heard Vertigo and I went out and bought the album right away. And it took me a while to... Art Glass says it's Falling to Pieces, a Faith No More cover. No, it's not. No, it's not. And it's a weird song, too. It's hard. It's hard music. This is when he just... Big Wreck took a break there, and he was bitter and angry, so a lot of these songs are hard. But then he mellows out for Tiny Pictures. Falling to Pieces is awesome. And I like when he performs it too. He does kind of like a little jingle or something that with it at the front. It's great track, awesome. Where were we? Oh yeah, U2. I heard Vertigo and I absolutely loved it. City of Blinding Lights was good. Crumbs from Your Table is good. Original of the Species. It took me a while to come around on these songs, but U2, I went to see them live in Toronto one year. They were playing in that big stadium where the Blue Jays play. Oh, and that was a torturous experience because you had to stand there for 2 hours waiting for them to come out, but you wanted to. I was like really in front, like from me to my door here is how close I was to Bono. It was really loud, and actually I got in arm's reach of Chris Martin from from Coldplay as well, and the seats that I did. That was cool. They went right by us for a song that they did in the stadium that we were at, and that was cool. So yeah, I liked U2. Not a lot of their earlier stuff, but I know their earlier stuff. So I went out and found some other songs from them that I liked as well. Velvet Revolver was that band with Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots and Slash. Big Machine is good. Slither is good. Which one is Fall to Pieces is also really good. But Libertad is the better album, I think. She Mine is awesome. American Man is good. The Last Fight is also really good. And then, of course, they did that cover of Psycho Killer, which is also really good. You two are definitely in my top 10, says Artglass. Yeah, well, Bono, his vocals are fairly good. The Verve, Urban Hymns. I don't know why that duplicates. Sometimes when you burn a disc, I haven't listened to this album in a while, but I do like it. Sonnet is good too. Verve. Everybody knows that song, Bittersweet Symphony. Warrant, one of the hair glam rock bands. My brother used to listen to this album all the time. So, of course, I started liking it as well. 32 Pennies was great from that album. Why Mona? I listened to this song from a commercial once, and then I got hooked. I had to go check it out. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs is definitely one that I'll be, should be in my honorable mentions. Karen O is a great vocalist. And if I got a chance to see them live, I would as well. But my favorite song from Yeah Yeah Yeahs would be Turn In 2, which I didn't mark for some reason. That's the one that got me hooked on them. I heard that on the radio, Turn In 2, and I went out and bought this album right away. Fell in love with it. Phenomenon is great. Warrior is good. And then that inspired me to go out and get their first album, Fever to Hell. And then I got some of the other stuff there from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Down Boy. Good, awesome, great stuff. So that's where that pretty much all ranks. Oh, and this is a big wreck. All because of me. B-side. Then I got to kind of clean up some stuff. Huey Morgan from Fun Loving Criminals sat behind me as we watched the warm-up band. Dude, I was freaked out. Very funny guy. Huh. Cool. Yeah. He's from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Is that it? Anyway, and then we got some compilations just to round out. Balance of Ruin is kind of various artists that took Final Fantasy VI music and they did their own versions of it, but it's updated. It's like some of it's dance music, some of it's like folk guitar music, Mount Colts. And they took a big song. What was it? Octopus, Bad Octopus. The Imparasio. Because in that game there's an opera scene, but they made sort of like what is that song? Bohemian Rhapsody version of that. Yeah. So, yeah. Really interesting tracks. Let's see what else. Big Shiny Tunes 2. And that had that Temptation or mix. No. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, that had Blur on it. Like that. Prodigy. Drinking in LA. My dance mix. This was a CD that my brother made for me when we would go to this bar when we were growing up called the Copper King, and he just put some of the big tracks on there that used to play all the time, like Rockefeller, Skank, Amok, Millennium. It's Like That by Run DMC. Then I added it, I augmented it, so to add on some other big things that were around that time. And then I just added some newer stuff that I would listen to, like more dancey stuff. Boneless from Steve Aoki. This is some classical music. Final Fantasy soundtrack from the Spirits Within movie. I think we might end up watching this on the channel someday, because I have it. And it's one of those movies that a lot of people don't like. They don't find it very entertaining. But it's one of those few movies out there that I'm thankful that it got made. Because I like it. Lost Highway soundtrack. This was put together by Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, so you got Perfect Drug on there. Great sound, great song. David Bowie, I'm Deranged version. Rammstein, Marilyn Manson, yeah, good soundtrack. Matrix Reloaded soundtrack I like a lot too. One Session from Linkin Park is great. And then you got the soundtrack there, of course. Epic movie soundtracks. Yeah, this is just amalgamations of stuff, guys. So it's got, I got the Inception soundtrack on there, stuff. Yeah. The old school themes from the Transformers TV show. Edgefest. Yeah, that's where the Big Wreck Ill Advice first was heard from. I think if you go and buy it now on In Loving Memory of on Spotify, these 3 songs, or these 2 songs at least, are included now. Piss It Away is not on there, but that's a B-side. And Queen of the Damned soundtrack is awesome. This was put together by Jonathan Davis, and he got all these big bands. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park, yeah. So that's a great album too. Movie is kind of meh, but I like the soundtrack. And then I just got a dump here of various songs that I like, that I just threw all together in this big, huge, long playlist. So it's got Muse, Fun, Imagine Dragons, some Johnny Cash, you know, a wide array of stuff, Megadeth, Maroon 5. I can probably get rid of that one. Mia, or MIA, sorry. Tomo, Jessie J, yeah. And that's where I put Alanis Morissette in that list too. World of Warcraft game, music, and then just another newer age, well, not newer age, dance mix from 2005. Yeah. And that's all my catalog on iTunes, guys. So that's my top 10. That's my top 10 bands of all time. But as I said, prioritized by order of I would go see them live. Maybe I would switch Tea Party with Coldplay. The later Coldplay stuff has not been totally winning me over, but Dead Can Dance, 3 to 5 can switch, I would say. But I know I want to see Metallica before they stop. I want to see Nine Inch Nails before they stop. I've seen Korn, I've seen the Tea Party, I've seen Big Wreck, and I've seen Coldplay, Stone Temple Pilots, yeah. So I've seen most of them live. And of course, nobody's going to be able to see Nirvana anymore. Hey James, you should check out a band called Nothing But Thieves. Start with their Broken Machine album. Okay. Thanks for the tip. I definitely will. All right, guys, this show has been going on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but that's just a look at some of my favorite bands that I listen to quite a bit. And it's just part of a playlist you can follow up in the cards later on when this gets published. We're just talking about music here, and you get to know a little bit about me and my background and stuff. Because sometimes people ask questions. Well, we're doing our live movie news show daily, 12 p.m. Eastern, Monday to Friday. And they say, well, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite band? Well, here's a nice little playlist for you guys to find out all of these things. Okay, so it's Friday, guys. Hope you go out and enjoy the day. Enjoy your weekend. Join us tomorrow on the channel for Horror Weekly Roundup. And I'll see you there. And, we might do a watch-along this weekend, too. All right. See you there.